A second week of war begins with no let-up in the assault on Iran. It grows only more intense. And while fires bled red into the pre-dawn sky over Tehran, this nation's president vowed there would be no surrender. And yet, by morning, for the first time, a real sign too of the pressure the regime's surviving leadership is under. President Masoud Pezeshkian made a public apology to neighbouring countries Iran is striking at. He said his armed forces had fired at will because their commanders had been killed.
It's coming to the airport.
But the apology was soon drowned out by the sound of a drone.
Oh my God.
A near miss on a terminal building at Dubai Airport, witnessed by some passengers waiting on planes to take them home. They were rushed to shelter, and for a while flights that had been taking thousands of Britons to safety were suspended. The United Arab Emirates President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed appeared on local media, in part to reassure local people, in part to warn Iran. We are no easy prey, he said. But tonight, we witnessed air defences in this city in action again.
So local people tell us there was an intercept of a missile overhead and that a fragment has hit an apartment building. There seems no reports of any injuries, but it shows that this country really is not impregnable.
Later, authorities said a second missile fragment had hit a car, killing its driver, a Pakistani national. With glittering cities in the firing line, America's Arab allies want this war over quickly, but escalation seems more likely. John Ray, ITV News, Dubai.
Well, President Trump said today that Iran had, in his words, surrendered to its near neighbours by promising to stop some attacks. He also took another swipe at Sir Keir Starmer for not getting Britain more fully involved in the war. But he then had a more sombre duty to welcome home the bodies of the first 6 American soldiers to die in the conflict. Romilly Weeks is in Washington for us. Romilly, those deaths don't seem to have tempered Mr. Trump's rhetoric.
No, they haven't. He was up very early this morning to post on social media vowing death and destruction to whole new areas of Iran and vowing that they would be beat to hell. But he also, as you say, had that most sombre duty of any president of honouring the fallen soldiers of a war that he ordered. The president wearing a white USA baseball cap that he didn't remove as he saluted the 6 coffins covered in the American flag as they were carried slowly past him. A devastating moment for the families, the bereaved families who were also there, and also a moment that is really bringing home to the American public that despite the US's overwhelming dominance in this war, it is not one without a terrible human cost. But that sad occasion was not the only thing occupying the president's mind today. He also took time to attack Sir Keir Starmer, who he claimed was considering sending 2 aircraft carriers to the Gulf. In fact, 1 aircraft carrier has been put on a state of readiness in Portsmouth, with the president also saying on social media, "That's okay, Prime Minister Starmer, we don't need them any longer, but we will remember. We don't need people that join wars after we've already won." The war, of course, by no means won. In fact, a week after it started, the White House seemingly determined to extend it still further and even less clear about how it might end.
OK, Romilly, thank you very much. And Ellie Pitt joins me in the studio now. Ellie, I understand that Number 10 was very quick to respond to that social media post by Trump.
It was a short, sharp response from Downing Street tonight, Yasmin, with them releasing a statement that the Prime Minister had already put out earlier this week on this, saying that President Trump has expressed his disagreement with our decision not to get involved in the initial strikes, but it is my duty to judge what is in Britain's national interest. That is what I have done and I stand by it. But he's releasing that statement again tonight, Yasmin, as Britain is more involved in this war than it was this time a week ago, on the first front in the fact that we've got US military planes on UK bases. The first of those B-1 bombers arriving in from Texas last night, some more today. We're expecting them to leave from RAF Fairford in Gloucestershire for US missions in the Middle East over the next couple of days. And then today, the Ministry of Defence confirming that one, as Romilly and not as Donald Trump said, not two, of our aircraft carriers are being made ready for deployment quicker than they usually would. So it normally takes about 10 days for HMS Prince of Wales to be made ready for an operation. That is being cut to 5. Defence sources have stressed to us tonight, though, that that doesn't mean it will leave for the region in 5 days, just that it could be ready to. Look, we're in a situation where the Prime Minister is having to defend his position to not be involved in those initial strikes and maintain a policy of defence only. But at the same time, we've got British assets in the Middle East, more on the way, and some being made ready to go at a moment's notice.
OK, Ellie, thank you very much.